Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about a question someone has asked me. The question is about what's better, whether it's good to focus on a niche area in quant finance or to specialize in more than one areas and not to be a super specialist. Well, I've discussed many times on this channel, but I'm making one other video why it's important to specialize in more than one area and in what circumstances specializing in niche areas is okay, right? So I'm going to throw a bit light on this particular questions. It's very important for absolute beginners, people who are just starting and people who have just got jobs in the field of finance, not just any area of finance, but field of quant finance, right? Not all the things that applicable to the field of quant finance are applicable to other areas of finance. So I have to make that distinction very clear. So the thing is that quant finance is a very technical career, right? With any technical career, no, not with this one just, right? After a while, you'll feel a bit saturated. And this is going to happen sooner or later, right? I think nowadays in every career we feel saturated after a while, but certainly in technical careers, after working for 15, 20 years, you feel like, okay, you have learned everything, you're done and dusted. You're probably not as good as the people who have just 10 years of experience, but half the experience that you have. Now, where do you go from here? Right? This is a challenge that many people face in any technical career. But the problem is that if you are just a super specialist in one area, it's difficult to find positions after a while. If you have specialized in more than one area, then it gives you the opportunity to explore in that many areas, right? If you have done modeling in banking, but also have done modeling in insurance or asset management firms, then you can switch between these roles. But if you have just worked in one area within banking, right, and if you have done, you are a super specialist, you know everything in that area. It's not a problem for first 20 years probably in your career. You have started a career at the age of 25 until the age of 40, maybe until 45. It's not an issue. But after a while, if you don't become head of the department or you have that kind of an executive role, it's difficult to then find opportunities because you are kind of saturated, and then it's not easy to find opportunities in that area. Then, and also a bit of a motivation thing, right? If you have learned everything in that area, you will not be motivated to do well in any further, and you can't explore a new area within quant finance at that age, but you can do that early in your career, right? First 3 years you worked on one type of work, you moved to a different department, did something totally different within the quantity. I'm not saying you make a massive shift, but if the work is related, it's still quantitative work, but you are doing something totally different, right? And you have, let's say, 5 specialization, you have done 5 different kind of works in the first 15 years of your career. Then after that, you can explore opportunities in all these 5 areas. Doesn't have to narrow your job search or opportunity search in just 1 or 2 areas. So that's something I would highly recommend, especially in the times that we live in, where there is no job security anywhere. Certainly not in the field of finance, although in the field of finances the jobs are a bit more stable compared to what I've experienced in other fields, right? But there are areas where focusing on the niche is also good and lucrative as well, especially in the field of asset management and trading. You can't be a specialist in 3 years time in asset management. You have to spend 10 years to be really really good at it, right? In fact, in some instances, some cases, you have to specialize with one asset class. So you are not just specializing in one type of industry, you're also specializing in one type of asset class. It could be, let's say, you are a commodity trader, or you are into equity investing but in the emerging market. So it can be, and the field can be narrower and narrower. Like you're focused on only the asset management industry, and within asset management you are focusing only on equities, and within equities you are focusing only on the emerging market equity, and you are focusing on the mid caps and small caps in the emerging market. So it becomes narrower and narrower. And if you are a quant researcher working in this field, I mean, it's not a bad career either. I mean, pay wise it's quite good. can be a bit difficult if you want to change your job for whatever reason. You want to move to a new city, you want to explore something new. It can be a bit difficult because simply not many companies out there doing exactly the same kind of work. But the good thing is that because it's such a niche field, the rewards are very high. I mean, you make quite a good amount of money, especially after getting seniority, because then it's not easy to replace you. So the company that you're working for will not be able to replace you that easily because there's simply not many people out there with such skills. So in some highly quantitative area, specializing, super specializing is okay. But if you're working not in that kind of area and you're working, let's say, on the risk modeling side, I think there's so many risk modelers out there. I mean, it's still a niche area, but it's not as niche as working as a quant researcher in some with some funds. So there, it's not good idea to be a super specialist, uh, unless of course you love the area so much that you simply don't want to learn anything else. I would highly recommend to explore other areas as well. But if you don't want to make a massive shift, but within that area, maybe there are some sub areas, it's good to also explore. But but to say that you will do your work in that particular area all your life, I think it's a bit risky. It used to be okay in the past. I mean, in Europe, you will find people who have worked on one particular area, one department, one company for 30 years. But that's not going to be the case anymore. Things are changing so fast. In the US, it's anyway not the case anymore. I think even 10, 15 years back, I was to see people moving around a bit and exploring options. That has become quite normal now all throughout all across the world. And this particular career is not an exception to that. So that's what I wanted to share. Again, it's entirely up to you what you like. Don't take this take my words with face value. Evaluate your situation. There are many scenarios as to when you should do what. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a highly super specialist, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. Might as well work even. But the I mean, it's best to also keep an eye on something else. It's also, I think, from a motivation point of view, is also quite important. You will not be motivated to do the same thing again and again. All right, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thanks, guys.